Good evening. I'd like to call the July 9th, 2018 council meeting of Overage Township to order, please. Can you stand for the pledge? We then stand for a moment of silence and a prayer. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As customary in this chamber, we stand for a moment of silence to honor those who are fighting for our freedoms, both here and abroad, for our first responders, and for those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. And tonight, Mayor Henry.
Thank you, Council President. I would be remiss if I didn't remember Reverend Monsignor John B. Szymanski, a longtime pastor at St. Thomas. He was a pillar of our community. Monsignor, if anyone knew him, was a great administrator. He was also a great leader, and he was instrumental in creating the Diocese of Metuchen. He had an impact on all of us when he mobilized the entire community of then Madison Township, and he led the charge to change the name to Overage Township. So Monsignor had a long life. He will be missed. But also, I'd like to remember Monsignor as being, although a little grumpy, he was a great priest. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. A moment of silence, please. Mr. Pasquini, the prayer.
Dear Lord, bless thy servants in the ministry of public affairs who serve thee in this chamber. Give them quiet minds and hearts, that they may hear thy voice. Help them to know when to speak, when to be silent. Give them strength to oppose the wrong and uphold the right, and grant that they have a good conscience and soul at peace with thee and one another. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please be seated.
This meeting is being held in conformance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice has been given to the newspaper, and notice of the meeting has been posted in public places. Next open public meeting of the council will be held on Monday, August 6, 2018, at 7:30 p.m. Mrs. Brown. Mr. Cahill.
Here.
Dr. Greenberg. Here. Mr. Merwin.
Present.
Mr. Murphy. Here. Mr. Biscotti.
Here.
Mr. Rizzoli.
Here.
Mrs. Walker.
Here.
President Sohar.
Here.
8 present.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We are going to begin with some presentations. Mayor. Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. It's always an honor. Chief, would you join me, please? It's an honor when we have the opportunity to take members of our police department within our ranks and promote them to the next level of their career. Tonight we have 2 officers, longtime officers of the department, now being given the opportunity to become a sergeant and a lieutenant. At this time, I would ask Sergeant, please, Smalley. Who's coming up? Brian Smalley? Lieutenant, right? I apologize. Lieutenant. I'll read a bio before we swear Brian in. Brian Smalley became a member of the Overage Police Department when he was sworn in as a patrol officer on December 27, 1993. Brian completed his basic training at the Middlesex County Police Academy. Throughout his career, Brian has been a recipient of many awards, including unit citations, departmental citations, and the Chief's Recognition Award. Brian's dedication and compassion extend to his participation in various fundraising events, not only in our community, but to outside agencies as well. On February 1st, 2011, Brian was promoted to the rank of sergeant. So now tonight, it is my honor to recognize Brian Smalley for his commitment to serving the residents of Overage and promoting him to the rank of lieutenant.
You want to hold the Bible? Why don't you come around?
Let's move.
Okay, come
We'll
around.
get some good pictures.
Okay.
Come here, Doug, this side.
Okay, all right. Left hand on the Bible, raise the right. Okay. I, in your name,
I, Brian Smalley,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States
to support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will be at true faith and allegiance
to the same and to the governments
to the same in the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office of lieutenant
all the duties of the office of lieutenant
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Thank you, congratulations.
Councilman, thank you.
Congratulations.
Gary? Gary Brecht's career in law enforcement with the Ulrich Police Department began when he took the oath of office on January 3rd, 2005. Gary holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice studies from Montclair State University. He attended the Monmouth County Police Academy, where he graduated 5th in his class. With the completion of his basic training at the academy, Gary returned to Overage and served with the Patrol Bureau. He was assigned to the Detective Bureau in 2012. Gary's commitment to the department, as well as the community, has been demonstrated by the numerous awards and letters of appreciation he has received throughout his career. These include receiving unit citations as well as departmental citations. Gary has participated in conducting presentations to the middle school parents to educate them to the dangers of drugs. Proud to stand beside him tonight for his promotion will be his wife Carolyn and his children Noah and Kaylee. Gary was appointed acting sergeant on July 2nd, 2018, and tonight it is my pleasure to promote him, the acting sergeant, Gary Brecht, to the rank of sergeant within the Old Bridge Police Department.
I, in your name,
I, Gary Brock,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution for the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and
to the
allegiance
same and to the governments
to the same and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people.
that I will faithfully,
I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office
all the duties of the
of
office
sergeant,
of sergeant,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Guys, I appreciate you coming out tonight and supporting your fellow officers. Thank you.
Yes. Congratulations to the officers and their families. Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Congratulations to the officers and their families. He was such a help to me this week. Oh, my God. Fritz, he helped me out big time with Plaza Grand. What a disaster. Okay, we will now continue on with presentations.
Thank you, everyone, and good evening again. Tonight, we have a special night in Ulrich. As you know, we made a commitment as a community, as a council, as a governing body, as administration, that we were going to commit to a full-day adult special needs program here in Ulrich. And we can say that that program is going to be started to operate within the next few weeks. We have a location. We've funded the equipment for the residents and non-residents who are going to use the facility. So I would ask Sue, if you can please join us tonight. We have a special present for you. I also have asked Matt McCure to join me. Matt was instrumental in getting this done. It might seem simple, but it's very complicated. But we are so fortunate now to offer this to our residents in our community. And one of our goals was to raise money above and beyond, and to help Community Options purchase a van, transportation van. So we've collected some money, and we would like to present that to you tonight. And it says a lot about our community and the business that are here in town. Our first donation is from the Township of Overage. Council, thank you. We have a check for you for $15,000 to go towards the purchase of the van. Our second check. Thank you. Our second check comes from Amboy Bank. We have a check for $10,000 to go to the purchase. What do we have next, man? DCH Honda, 1,000. The Brunetti organization has donated $1,000. And everyone knows I'm committed to our special needs programs, both here in Old Bridge and our surrounding communities. So I've also donated $1,000 from Owen Henry. Thank you. $28,000. Thank you so much. Thank you, Council. So I've prepared certificates. No one of the donor, except for myself, I'll keep the certificate. But Amboy Bank, DCH Honda, Brunetti couldn't be here tonight, but we will make sure and to show our appreciation, we have certificates for them. So thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Henry. Okay, next we will start with the bill listing. Mrs. Walker.
Accounts payable July 9, 2018, $11,617,707.95.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Abstain. Yes, sorry.
Yep. Yes, Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Biscotti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Payroll June 22nd, 2018, $912,373.07.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mrs. Walker.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Biscotti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Payroll overtime, June 22nd, 2018, $37,189.60.
Can we have a breakout, Mrs. Shapiro?
Yes, just to reiterate, payroll of June 22nd, 2018, there was a small uptick in overtime for the elections in that pay period. Also, sworn police overtime for pay period for ending 6/23/18 was $30,924.40, deducting grants in the amount of $2,373.44, deducting earned time off of $8,821.58, for a total of $19,729.38, representing 569.5 men and women hours.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion for the overtime?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Walker, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Biscotti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Payroll, July 6, 2018, $947,662.70.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mrs. Walker.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Biscotti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Payroll overtime, July 6, 2018, $40,144.15.
Can we have a breakout, Mrs. Shapiro?
Yes, there was a slight uptick in this pay period for work at our commuter lots by DPW. The sworn police overtime for pay period 7/7/2018 for sworn police officers are $31,251.28, deducting no grant funding, deducting earned time off of $8,477.52 for a grand total of $22,773.76, representing 559.25 men and women hours. There were 2 patrolmen injured on duty during that period.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion for the overtime?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Walker and second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Biscotti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
And that concludes the bill list.
Council President?
Yes.
In error, we have another presentation that I thought was going to be at the next
Okay.
meeting. We have someone here very special in our audience
All right.
that I would like to bring forward, and then we'll do it again. But
No.
they're here tonight, so I'd like to bring them forward.
No worries.
Thank
Go
you.
right ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very talented athlete here in our audience tonight. Michael represented Overage as a swimmer in the Special Olympics in Seattle, Washington. I would ask Michael to please step forward and display the medals he won.
Okay, I would love to thank my coaches, Meredith, my coaches, Stephanie and Carol, my coaches who have helped me get this far. I won this medal in the 4x50 team relay, the final. There was all different kinds of competition there from all over the 50 states. a lot of cool athletes. I had a wonderful time. And then I have this medal, who I won in the butterfly, the 450 butterfly. And I raised 2 people from Mississippi. And they have some awesome swimmers there. I was 3rd coming off of the turn. And for some crazy reason, everybody, my coaches was behind me. My athletes were behind me 100%. And I would like to thank everybody who has got me this far. And I have a silver medal who I won in the 50 breaststroke. And I raised, again, like I said, all the 50 states were there. The competition was so tough, but I made it through with, like I said, a silver and 2 gold. And also, I have a 4th place, which I won in the 50 freestyle. And that was the toughest race that I have ever swam in a high competition. So again, I would like to thank the mayor for being at the opening ceremonies for the state meet. And I would also like to present the mayor with this book, which shows my gratitude for him being there, not only for me, but for the 250 athletes that were there competing in different states, such as flag football, such as swimming, such as track and field, all the different 14 sports. So I would like to represent that to the mayor.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you. What's next, Michael? Where do we go next?
We are in 2022. There is the Internationals, which is in Abu Dhabi. And I would also like to represent the mayor with the state New Jersey pin
Thank you.
that
Put that on my jacket.
that we were giving out to the different athletes in Seattle, which, well, we had a competition to collect the other 49 states. So there was a competition going around to see how many pins you can collect before nationals was over. So
Thank you, Michael.
I would like to present the mayor with this pin.
Thank you again. Thank you again. Wow. I'm gonna come back. I've known Michael for a while now, but let me tell you, he is probably the most dedicated athlete this township has. Michael works full-time, right, Mike?
Yeah.
He practices. Anyone know who has to practice? You don't do this, you practice five times a week?
I practice 5 times a week, 375 days a year.
That's a lot of practicing. And I would encourage everyone to go on YouTube or Facebook, and you could see Michael in the water. It is amazing what he can do. If anyone has tried to do some of the swimming techniques that he mentioned that he was successful in, he is literally a fish in the water. And he is just a fantastic young man. Thank you, Michael. Good job.
Also, the Nationals, they were held on ESPN.
ESPN, they're on TV.
So you can go on the app on your phone, type in ESPN, and you can type in Special Olympic Swimming, and you can see me also on there.
Good job. Thank you. Okay, we're good? I'll see you next month. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. Congratulations, Michael.
Congratulations.
Okay. Next will be public hearings and ordinances for second reading. H1, renewing plenary retail consumption license number 1209-33-019-007, Sarthy Corporation trading as Town Square Wine, Liquor, and Bar.
Okay.
Good evening.
Okay. Conditions on your license are install and maintain a surveillance system which covers the interior of the bar and also covers the front and rear exits. The second one is the system will need to have the capacity to retain these images for 7 days. Do you agree to that? Thank you.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Merwin, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Peschitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes, and can you please
Nine.
just, oh, I'm sorry.
9 yes.
Can you put your name on for the record? A.J. Patel. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Patel. Have a good evening.
You can pick up the license tomorrow if you'd like. Okay?
Okay. All right, have a nice evening. Next is ordinances for second reading, number 2018-16, amending Ordinance Chapter 5, Article 3, Section 5-25 of the Code of the Township of Ulrich. Do I have a motion or discussion? I'm sorry, open to the public? Anyone wish to speak from the public? Seeing no hands, close the public portion and council comments. Anyone? Mrs. Walker?
Yes, I'd like to ask a question of the attorney about this. Is this going to bring government to like a halt or slow it down? Because will things be able to be moved up to first reading that night and considered first reading?
Yes.
It will be permissible, but you'd have to, the way it's written is it has to first be approved. The question of whether it slows government or not is not one of a legal issue, but, I mean, when you read it in the way it is now in the ordinance book, it certainly could lead to a slowing down of the ability for the mayor or council, quite frankly, to get things done in a timely fashion because of the way the approvals it will take.
Yeah, I have some concerns about that because we never had any problems in the past when we had first reading, second reading, because the council president would allow us to speak if we needed to, and there's plenty of time. I feel that this is going to slow a lot of things down, and we're not going to get things done in a timely manner.
Anyone else? Mr. Peschitti?
Yes. There's a number of, I'm new to the council, so I had a number of issues with the way things were being done. And one of them is that we weren't discussing ordinances. They were just put up for first reading, and according to the state law, when something is put up for first reading, you can't discuss it, you just have to vote on it. So, I believe it was Mr. Murphy who brought up that we should be discussing these ordinances before they're brought up for first reading. And I thought it was a good idea, because there was a number of ordinances that were brought up in the last 6 months that were brought up as first reading, and we were expected to vote on it, and we didn't know what it was. Well, I didn't know what it was. So I think it's better that we understand what we're voting on before we vote. So I thought it was a good idea. So if it does delay, then it does. But like Mr. Hamachu said, that we will be able to move it up to first reading after we discuss it, and then we can vote, which I think is reasonable. And the other thing was the agendas, the way the agenda, used to work is we used to have an agenda meeting, then a council meeting, a regular meeting, then an agenda meeting, then a council. It was 4 meetings a month. And, it was decided that we should combine the meetings and make it 2 meetings a month, which seems to be more efficient. However, it's taking away that discussion part. And we don't get a chance really to flesh out some of these ordinances before they actually come up for first reading. So, I would like to propose or just discuss, or maybe if in the future, that we continue this once-a-month meeting, but add an agenda meeting in the month. So we're back to 2 meetings a month, but have 1 agenda meeting and 1 regular meeting. And then, I would like to discuss that at a future date. Also, with the agenda, I would really like to discuss getting the agenda out by Thursday at noon and closing it by ordinance. And I would like to discuss that at a future date. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Anyone else? Mr. Murphy?
Okay, this is my ordinance. There's a couple of reasons I brought it up. Once, I'm trying to take politics, as once again Debbie Walker is trying to put politics into it. As far as what happened, I read the ordinance, it made no sense because it said the mayor may bring up an ordinance, may ask me to bring up an ordinance. It didn't say to who. I spoke to the other attorney, and he said, you're absolutely right. This was done before me. I never would have let it get away with like this. I called down to the state League of Municipalities. I spoke to 3 lawyers. They told me what was in there was wrong, it's illegal, and it cannot be there. The mayor has no right at all to bring up an ordinance. It has to come through a council person. He said, look, you don't have to even accept it. I said, well, we're going to take anything he goes through the chairperson with. But furthermore, a lot of things haven't been getting discussed. In fact, what started the whole thing actually was during the primary, Mrs. Walker comes into one of our meetings and says, look, we can beat the other Republicans with this, what they call the bad Republicans, which I'm not so sure they're right anymore.
I'm not going to sit here and take you telling lies about me. I'm tired
You're
of it.
a liar.
I had an attorney send you a letter. I'm not
Okay,
taking
listen
it
to me.
anymore.
Just, you be quiet. I have the floor.
Yes.
John, you're making up a
John.
story.
All right, John.
Okay, listen. Anyway, somebody told me, nothing happened with that, and I didn't understand why. Somebody told me Mrs. Walker and don't lie here, Mrs. Walker and Mrs. Sohar voted on the change, the change of the zoning, which allowed the apartments. I asked them, I swear to God, they both said we didn't understand what we were voting for. I will take a lie detector test on that.
John?
And you got to get rid of the politics.
Right.
The 5 of us are running for the people. For once, we're running for the people. And I'm tired of hearing, I agree with Anita. I agree with Anita. You know, don't say it. The people already know it's a farce. That's all I have to say. That ordinance, I make a motion, we pass it now.
All right, so you're talking about the ordinance and whatever else you spun out. So are you now concluding your comments?
For this time.
Okay, so your comments are now concluded. Okay. Can I move on? Anyone else wish to speak?
I move the ordinance.
Wait, excuse me, I'm sorry, Mr. Merwin. Okay. Mr. Cahill, did you have your hand up?
Were you going to speak?
He's moving.
No, I'm just, I'll go on record. I mean, I think this is a solution in search of a problem. I don't see anything that we need to change here. Council President has the authority to let people hear things at first reading, to discuss. I don't want to slow government down. You know, I've been pretty consistent in my comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cahill. Dr. Greenberg? Okay,
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg.
There is a process involved, and a lot of people at home may not understand it. And so basically, a lot of times, there's discussion items that go up. If there isn't already an ordinance for it, something new, something that's involved. So you have a discussion. When there is something first reading, it's basically, when you're a council person, you read it, you decide whether it's something you want to move forward. In fact, everyone can move everything till second reading, and at that time, you either have 2 weeks or a month. Most of the time, it's 2 weeks, but during the summer, it's a month to do your research. So if you do your due diligence, and you read it, and you try to understand it, and you reach out to the people, heads of departments that understand this and that can help you to understand this, and you can have discussions as far as you're not breaking the sunshine law with other council members, and that means you can't have the majority of the council. You can talk about it. You could ask the public. You could ask your neighbors. You could ask your friends. You could ask them what you think about this. This, I do not think, when I took this position, was to help the residents. I do not think it benefits the residents. No resident has ever come forward and said to me, I want to change this. I've sat in this courtroom for many, many, many years, many times. Democrats and Republicans, it doesn't matter. That's not the issue here. It's the issue when you take a job, you should understand the job. If not, don't try to take the job and don't do it. Don't try to rewrite it. You should try to understand it before you apply for the job, and obviously there are always things to improve it, but this does not improve it at all, and it doesn't have a value, so I will be voting no. But more so, I cannot tolerate when people say things through hearsay, and this one said this, and this one said that. That's not what it's about. Here you're presenting this, everyone presents their side of it, and you feel if it has a value, you vote for it. But to character assassinate people all the time, that is non-productive. And so I think when this comes up, and I believe in transparency for the residents, this does not do this at all. This allows council people to grandstand and pontificate and bloviate and go on about things and really slow down government. It's slow enough as it is with the process, and I choose to be productive and get things done. I do not see the value in this, and so I find it very disturbing that people took this position and don't understand the position. They don't understand the role that they're supposed to do, and for many years, it was simple. First reading, second reading. Second reading, you also get the public. You hear their input. They come up, and then you make an educated decision. It's not that complicated if you do your work. And believe me, everyone in this town, the employees, the head of the department, they're here to help you and to help you understand it. And to do our outreach to the public, I think it will serve you well. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else from the council? Mr. Murphy, I'm going to give you one more bite at the apple, but that's it, because we have to move on.
I put
okay?
something in there so it doesn't slow down government. The thing I put in there was we can move the first reading to second reading. When I spoke to the state, they said, wait, you don't discuss this first? I said, no, they said you got to go through first reading first. And the attorney said, well, you have to discuss it before you go to first reading. I said, not according to that. He said, well, I hope you do. And furthermore, it is a political thing. 2 people threatened me if I didn't vote with Anita and the girls, and threatened my family. I will play it right on tape if you want me to do it now. I am not a politician. I don't care. You want me to play it? I'll play it now. I'm tired of threatening. I've been threatened at least twice. One is still on tape, and it will come out. Thank you.
All right, has anyone else anything to say?
I move it.
Anybody else for comments? We're good?
One more bite at the apple?
No. Does anybody else have something to say?
Yes.
No, I just want to agree with Dr. Greenberg. We have plenty of time. When this comes up, if you want to do your homework, you can call the administration, the staff. Everybody's there to help us. There's no reason to slow things down. We're very transparent. Mary gives more than enough opportunity. If you want to talk about something during first reading, she allows it. This is just, I really believe that this is just people want to showboat. That's all this is about.
All right?
I would like to say one last thing. I sit on another board with Mr. Murphy, the MUA, which he worked for and he's retired from. We basically get our agenda on Monday and our meetings on Wednesday. I don't understand. He has no problem with that. I don't, not asking any questions and everything gets done. And still, it's plenty of time to get your information if you do your work and you are committed and dedicated. So this is just grandstanding at its best. Thank you.
Okay, I will close the comments by saying that I do not support this as well. I think that we have a good communication process with all the department heads. I think that administration tries really to help us out and give us direction. I think I try to let people speak if they feel the need, and I just don't think it's necessary to make this kind of a power play. So I am not voting for this. Thank you.
I move it.
Okay, moved by Mr. Merwin. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Murphy. And roll call, please, Stella.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
No.
Dr. Greenberg?
No.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
No.
President Soha?
No.
5 yes, 4 no.
Okay. Ordinance number 2, number 2018-17, amending Ulrich Township Code, Chapter 124, updating the official maps depicting the location and boundaries of drug-free school zones and drug-free public areas. I will open it to the public. Does anyone have anything to say? Seeing no hands, I will close the public portion. And now, council, anyone for comments on this ordinance?
One question.
Yes, Mr. Merwin.
Is this the same thing that the engineer proposed?
Shapiro, yes.
Thank you.
Just to change
Right.
the date, the name
Exactly.
from Cleary to Shapiro.
Right. Okay. Anyone else? Seeing no hands, can I have a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Second, motion by Mr. Rizzoli, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg? Yes. Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha? 9 yes.
Ordinance number 3, number 2018-18, amending section number 185-6, local uniform fire code provisions, E, of the township, the code of the township of Ulrich. Anyone from the public wish to be heard on this item? Seeing no hands, I will close the public portion and go to council. Council, anyone for comment? Seeing no hands, I need a motion, please.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Merwin, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg? Yes. Mr. Merwin.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti.
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
President Soha.
Yes.
9 yes.
Ordinance number 4, number 2018-19, amending Table of Organization Ordinance for the Police Department to increase 15 sergeants to 16 sergeants as a result of the increase in school security. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Seeing no hands, I will close the public portion, and now anyone from council wish to be heard. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Mr. Rizzoli, second by Mr. Merwin.
Mrs. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Cahill.
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg. Mr. Merwin.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti.
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
President Soha.
Yes.
9 yes.
Ordinance number 5, number 2018-21, an ordinance of the Township of Ulrich, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, mandating direct deposit of new pay for all municipal employees and elected officials pursuant to NJSA 5214-15F ET-SEK. Anyone from the public wish to be heard on this? Come forward, please. Good evening.
Last meeting, you discussed this at length. There was a couple things that were left out. You have 9 unions in town. Probably each one has a clause in their contract that says, there shall be no unilateral change in term and condition of employment. Method of compensation is a term and condition of employment. If you do this, you're probably going to get grievances, ULPs, and a bunch of other things. So that wasn't addressed to you, but you should give that some thought. The second thing, which I think is more important, is about 25 years ago, I worked here, and the bank did an analysis on the payroll account to conclude whether or not it would be feasible for them to keep the account, and if they would in fact pay all charges that you incur for your checks, for payroll. And the conclusion was they wanted to keep the account, so they paid ADP. That was the name of the outfit that did our checks. 3 years ago, I retired 11 years ago, 3 years ago, I got the budget and I went through it at length, obviously, because I ran for office. And you switched from ADP to Prime Point, I believe it's called. And there was no bills there for Prime Point. So I went through the last 6 months of the bill listings that you all approve. And you know what I didn't find? I didn't find a bill for Prime Point. I went through your budget for this year. And you know what I didn't find? A line item for Prime Point. And that's because you don't pay a bill to Prime Point. The bank pays the payroll bill. You don't pay it. And last month, when you had your meeting, you were told how you're saving taxpayers' money. Well, you're not saving taxpayers' money because you're not paying anything. Why you were told that, I got no clue. But I can tell you right now, for a fact, I triple-checked. I do have a little experience in investigating things. You're not paying this bill. So whatever you were told was inaccurate. That's sugarcoating it. I don't sugarcoat anything you were lied to. Have a nice day.
Okay. Anyone else from the public wish to be heard? Seeing no hands, I will close the public portion, and now I will go to council. Anyone on my left have something to say? Mr. Murphy.
Yes. After hearing all that, I wasn't happy when he told me, he goes, I guess, Mr. Murphy, you don't want to save the township money. Right now, I don't know what else didn't he tell us. I would like to investigate this a little more, and I would like to table the matter.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion on the floor to table by Mr. Murphy. It was seconded by Mr. Merwin. there's a motion to table, you can't speak when there's a motion to table. That's, I believe, is that the law?
Yes.
The law is the procedure.
Procedure, that's what I'm saying. We're following the procedure. Okay. I
Mrs.
just want to
Brown?
make sure.
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
No.
Dr. Greenberg?
No.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
No.
President Soha?
No.
5 yes, 4 no.
Next is ordinance number 6, 2018-20, amending ordinance, the Code of the Township of Ulrich, specifically Article 8, daycare program, and Section 160-31 for before and after school daycare program, and Section 160-31 summer recess program. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this subject? Seeing no hands, I will close the public portion. And now, council, anyone to my left with comments or questions? Anyone to the right? Do we have a motion?
I'll move it.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Walker and second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill? Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
No.
Mr. Murphy?
Abstain.
Mr. Pescitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
7 yes, 1 no, 1 abstention.
Preliminary public comments to council, subject to the following conditions and restrictions. During the preliminary public portion of the meeting, any person may address the Township Council on any subject matters for a maximum period of 5 minutes. Any such person desiring to speak during the preliminary public portion shall first sign a list maintained by the Township Clerk for such purpose. Comments during the preliminary public comment portion of the meeting shall not encompass second reading ordinances or any other matter for which comment of a public hearing is to occur at the meeting. Has anyone signed up this evening?
Greg Sciorra?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Greg Sciorra. I'm at 9 Woodruff Drive in Trevor Place, and come today to ask your help in minimizing what we consider a severe and continual hazard in our development. There is a stand of bamboo that's on the corner of Route 516 and Trevor Place. In good weather, it blocks the view to the left, and as you know, there's a downgrade there. So turning right into development or left out of development is dicey to begin with. In bad weather, the bamboo lays over, blocking the sidewalk. In fact, depending on how severe the winds are, it blocks portions of the right-hand lane, so pedestrians walk in the road. People coming out go on the wrong side of the road, people turning into development. So in our view, this is really just an accident waiting to happen. And we've come here today to ask your help in assessing it and helping us minimize the danger, and just to show the support of our community. A short petition, I'd be happy to leave with you.
My name is Florence Fusig. I live at 45 Woodruff Drive in the development of Trevor Place. And as Greg said, this is very dangerous too, especially the children in our development when they're coming home from the high school. Many of them walk home that live in the development, and they have to walk basically into the middle of the street in order to get to their homes because the bamboo blocks the sidewalk. And this is especially in the wintertime when there's a lot of snow, when there's rain, and as you said, cars coming in have to drive on the opposite side of the road, whether it's the sanitation department, whether it's school buses coming in, cars going in, cars coming out, and it's very dangerous.
Whose bamboo is it? Who planted it? Whose is it? Do you know? Did you plant?
No, it's not a member of our community. Solikowski is the last name.
Okay. He's a board member. I think he cares. is about children. I don't know why, you know, it hasn't been addressed. You know, from an we have an invasive ordinance right now. Usually we don't speak during this time, but this is a safety issue. I've driven there, and I don't know as far as the position of what we could do.
We try to keep up with it. When it comes over the sidewalk and into the roadway, we'll go and trim it back. I believe Kyle told me you were there about a week and a half ago. But this bamboo has been there for a while prior to the ordinance. I just spoke to Kyle. If we can get permission from, it's private property, if we can get permission, we have the equipment that we could trim it back probably 10 feet, but we need permission to go on private property.
The problem is, Mayor, I duly respect and, you know, the town to take this on, but you'll cut down 10 feet. Next year, they're gonna, they grow laterally. It's a concern. So I think the way to do it, if you're gonna do that, is, because I'm familiar with the bamboo, if they cut it back 10 feet, you actually have to put in something in the ground that blocks it from the roots from going over, and
That we're not
it's more
equipped,
involved.
we don't, all we can do is cut it down at this point.
But so granted, it was before the ordinance. My question is, has the owner been notified, and what is his position on it?
Councilwoman Belli, he was notified, I believe it was fall time, and he did go out there and cut it back, I believe, himself. We're looking for some sort of long-term solution. The complaint had come in, not last week, the end of the week prior to that. Our conservation officer was on vacation. He has since returned this week, and we were looking to reach out to him. I just haven't had the chance to sort of talk with him and have him approach the property owner and come up with some sort of long-term solution to get the bamboo, not to migrate, because every 6 months, we're going to have the same discussion.
And excuse me for talking that a lot. I wasn't talking to, you know, really the residents. I really want to know from the administration who owned it, because we do have an ordinance, all right, it was there before the ordinance was in place, but the problem, if we cut it down, then it's new shoots, so it is new, so they do have to, you know, take care of it. One time that we incurred the labor and cost going out there, the second time it's new, and our ordinance then is valid, where they're responsible for it. And I just think on 516, it is dangerous out there. You get kids with the new license, driving, turning, you cannot say.
And that's what we're committed to addressing, the safety issues. We can't have it laying over the sidewalk, and we
Right.
can't have it laying in the roadway. We have to go, just as if a tree would fall, we would go remove that tree.
Right.
Exactly.
Can I just ask a
That's
question?
why I spoke
that-
to the residents about it, you know, go ahead, Mrs.
No,
Ward.
I just, the ordinance that we passed about the invasive species, I thought there was a portion of that if the invasive species, even though it's old, if it caused a problem,
Right.
the owner had to take care of it. We had put that in there. So I feel that even though it's in there old before the ordinance,
Right.
then it has become a problem at this point. I think the owner is responsible to put those metal pieces in so it doesn't spread anymore, because that is a problem. I've driven by.
Yeah.
And even when he did cut it down, or tried to cut it down, he left it on
Oh,
the
yeah.
sidewalk
It's a
and partially
disaster.
in the street for
Right.
about 3 weeks. It
Right.
just laid there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this has been ongoing, and we really are frustrated. And I know I've been there many times with you, and we've spoken about this a lot. And it just seems to be a situation that we haven't gotten our arms around, and I really think we have to, because like she said, the school buses have complained when they go into the development when the weather's bad. It's just so unfair to these residents. And then there's a couple of homes that border his that are now overrun, and it's just not right. I mean,
Madam
something
Chairperson.
has to be done. Yes.
Madam Chairperson. We
Erwin?
passed an ordinance. Now, did we pass that ordinance to make ourselves feel good? Or did we pass this ordinance to have some effect? Send the code enforcement officer out there, issue the summonses, and let's get on with it, and we'll test the ordinance. This is baloney. Why are we wasting our time here? Send them out, give the tickets, and it's the end of it. We passed the ordinance. If the ordinance is no good, well, shame on us.
Okay, so I believe your point has been made very clear, and I'm glad. Thank you for coming this evening and, sharing your concerns with the rest of the council. We've been in touch, like I said, several times, and hopefully now we're going to get some resolution for you.
Thank you for
All
your
right?
consideration.
Thank you.
That's it.
All right, seeing no one else, then we will close the public portion. Council member comments. To my left, anyone? Comments? Council member comments? No? Council member comments? No? All right, seeing none, I will close the council member portion. Report of the township clerk.
None at this time, thank you.
Report of the township attorney.
None at this time, thank you.
Okay. The administrative report. I just want to add that Mr. Shaw is away, so we have our acting business administrator, Mrs. Shapiro. So would you like to give us the administration report, please?
Yes. Thank you, Council President. I have 11 brief items on the administrative report dated July 9th, 2018. Item number 1, business grand opening in the month of July. The Mayor's Office of Economic Development attended the grand opening of Farmers Insurance Myers Agency located on 228 Highway 34, Suite 3. For additional information on local businesses and related opportunities, residents should contact the Economic Development Office at 732-721-5600, extension 7920, or email obedo@ulbridge.com. Item number 2, Jersey Central Power and Light First Energy 24/7 Power Center. Ulrich customers who lose power for any reason during the summer months should call JCP&L directly at 1-888-LIGHTS, 1-888-544-4877 to report the outage. For updated information on power outages, services issues, storm restoration, or important safety tips, residents should also visit the JCP&L First Energy 24/7 Power Center at firstenergycorps.com. Item number 3, Bridge to Business Expo. The Mayor's Office of Economic Development put together a Bridge to Business Expo at the Grand Marquis on Thursday, June 28th, 2018, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The purpose of this expo was to bring recognition and connect our residents to the great businesses located right here in our township and the surrounding areas. On site for display was the real Batmobile from the Batman Returns movie, where many gathered for pictures. Over 100 exhibitors, including the mayor's health and wellness and non-for-profit organizations, participated in this free event for the public. Residents enjoyed games, raffles, giveaways, contests, seminars, and more. Item number 4, Theis Town Road Resurfacing. MECO Inc. was awarded our NJDOT local aid-funded Theis Town Road Resurfacing contract between Wisdom Way and Higgins Road at the April 23rd council meeting. A pre-construction meeting was held on June 28, 2018. The contractor was given a notice to proceed on Monday, July 9th, for a duration of 45 calendar days. MECO Inc. will begin with concrete work. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, our website, and television stations for project updates. Item number 5, Texas Road Improvements. Woodhaven Village contractors are continuing with improvements of Texas Road between Marlborough Road and Murray Drive. Inclement weather and utility relocations have caused delay to the Texas Road improvements and will require work to continue through July 2018 with intermittent closures along Texas Road from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Texas Road westbound will be closed daily from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. A minimum of one lane in one direction on Texas Road will be opened all other times. Two-way traffic on Texas Road will be open during weekday events at Overage Raceway Park. In addition, Texas Road will be open to emergency vehicles, school buses, and local residents. Residents are invited to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, our website, and television stations for project updates. Item number 6, Think Ulrich Property Tax Reward Program. The second year of the Think Ulrich Property Tax Reward Program concluded on April 30th, 2018. On July 11th, 2018, the township received $4,443.30 to be applied to the August property tax installment for 363 property owners who participated last year in the Think Ulrich Property Tax Reward Program. The highest tax credit was $186.12. For more information on the Think Ulrich Property Tax Reward Program or to pick up a card, please visit the Office of Economic Development, which is located on the first floor of the Administration Building. Item number 7, 2018 final, 2019 preliminary tax bills. As a result of fiscal year 2019 state budget changes, which may affect school district budgets, there will be a delay in the mailing of the 2018 final 2019 preliminary tax bills. At this time, the state has not certified the municipal or county budgets to the Middlesex County Tax Board. Tax bills will be mailed as soon as permitted, and the due date will be extended accordingly from the date of the mailing. The extended grace period will be noted on the new tax bill. For additional information, residents should contact the Division of Tax Collection at 732-721-5600, extension 2999. Item number 8, Ulrich Food Bank Summer Collection. The Ulrich Food Bank will continue to collect items during the summer months. Collection bins are located in the Municipal Administration Building, Ulrich Public Library Building, Recreation Building, also known as the Civic Center, and Senior Center. For additional information on the food bank or a list of needed items, residents should contact the Ulrich Food Bank at 732-721-5600, extension 6625, or visit us on the web at www.ulrich.com/foodbank. Item number 9, Saltwater Day 2018. Saltwater Day will be held on August 11, 2018, from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Old Bridge Waterfront Park in Lawrence Harbor. The event will feature crafts, food, games, live entertainment, and fireworks. For additional information about this event, residents should contact the Department of Parks and Recreation at 732-721-5600, extension 4999, or visit the Township website at www.ulrich.com/recreation. Item number 10, Ulrich Day 2018. Ulrich Day will be held on Saturday, September 22nd from 12 to 5 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Any businesses or food vendors interested in attending can download a packet by visiting www.ulrich.com/recreation. For additional information and registration, please contact the Township Recreation Department at 732-721-5600, extension 4999, or visit Township website at www.ulrich.com/recreation. Item number 11, the Township of Old Bridge Cultural Arts Committee presents Summer Concerts in the Park. The concert series kicked off on Friday, June 22nd at Menino Park, featuring performances by Ready, Willing, and Able, and continued on July 5th at Guyk Park with performances by the Billy Joel Tribute Band. Don't miss the next summer concert on August 2nd at Guyk Park, beginning with a bike show at 6 p.m. and performances by Sonic Rain and AC/DC cover bands at 7 p.m. For more information on our concert series, visit www.ulrich.com. Thank you.
Mrs. Shapiro. Does any council person have any questions or comments?
The Bridge to Business Expo, I attended that. It was, really kudos to Mayor Henry and Steve Mamakis for putting together what I thought was an incredible expo. The amount of over 100 vendors. The place was packed. The Batmobile, I got a picture of the Batmobile. Showed people at work. That was like really cool. I was talking to Officer Erickson and Penley outside, and they actually had to turn some people away, unfortunately. It was that crowded. So I think it was terrific. Learned a lot about different businesses. Some businesses come to town, like Forno, Mayor, that Italian place looks great. So I think it was just an overall success, and I just want to say thank you to you and to the township because it was just it was great. Thank you.
Anyone else comments? Mr. Pasquini?
Yeah, one short question on the preliminary tax bills for 2018 final and 2019. I don't know who I would address the question to, but does that mean that direct pay gets delayed as well? It does. Do we have do we know around or how long of a delay that would be?
I spoke to someone at the County Board of Taxation today. They have heard nothing from the state as far as when they're gonna certify municipal and county budgets. So at this point, I'm hoping before the end of the week we have a tax rate, but at this point, I don't know.
Wow, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Anyone else, any comments? I just want to say I also attended the Business Expo, and it was really very, very good. I think Steve did a great job, Mamakis, and Mayor, that was very, very well attended. And I think it shows we do have businesses here in town that are very pleased to be here with us, and our base is growing. Thank you. A motion to accept the administrative report.
I'll move it.
Moved by Mr. Cahill, second by Mr. Murphy.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soho?
Yes.
9 yes.
Thank you. Okay, now our consent agenda. I'd like to introduce it, and then I'll bring it out to the public, and then ask for separations from council members. Do we have a motion to introduce the agenda?
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Pescitti, second by
Brian?
Mr. Cahill.
No, it was me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Rizzoli. Okay, no worries, okay. Can we see if anyone from the public would like to speak on any consent agenda items? Oh, I'm so sorry, I apologize. Okay, roll call, you threw me off, right? Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill? Dr. Greenberg? Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soho?
Yes, now we'll open it to the public. Good evening.
Good evening. Alan Rosencrantz, David Drive. On C2, there's a waiver for the alternate route for police. It says right now we're limited to 6. What are we waiving it to? Does anybody know? 7. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else from the public have a question about the consent agenda items? Seeing no hands, we'll close the public. Now I'll go to separations from council. Mr. Pescitti?
C15.
15. Anyone else down here? Dr. Greenberg Belli? C6, please. Anyone else on this side? How about to my left? Mr. Murphy?
3 and 15.
Number 3. 15 was separated already by Mr. Pescitti. Okay? All right. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Mr. Merwin?
Could I have C11? Really, it's only a question on them, so,
Any other one, Mr. Merwin?
C6.
C6. That one's been separated as well. Okay, anyone else down here? All right, and I'm going to separate C5, please. So do I have a motion for the balance of the consent agenda items?
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg? Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker? President Soho?
Yes,
9 yes on the balance.
thank you. Okay, next will be C3. Mr. Murphy?
Yes, I have a question on that. What are we talking about there? Is that the catch and release program? Anybody know?
Okay, as far as this is concerned, it's the Stray Old Cats Incorporated, through John Heilbrunn and with the TNR committee. This is an organization that will maintain the cat population according to the TNR. So there's no cost to the town. It's basically a layer between us and the caretakers for the cats. There's no cost to the town for this.
Okay, originally they told us there'd be no cost to the town or to the, I was under the impression to the public. Do we have to pay for the neutering and stuff, the public?
Can I explain the TNR ordinance? It's a volunteer. It just gives you permission if you want to sign up, and if you know there's a colony, for example, behind any strip mall, anywhere in town by apartments. If you choose to do the TNR program, which essentially means trap, neuter, vaccinate, and release, the individual, the volunteers to do that, they are responsible for the cost. The township is not responsible for the cost. And Save All Strays is the layer that will oversee these groups that sign up to maintain the colonies. For example, there's a group that does it down at the beachfront. So if anyone wants to volunteer, they can fundraise on their own. They can, there's a lot of places you can have very, like a low-cost spay and neuter place. If you get in touch with New Jersey Animal Alliance, they contribute $30 to it. If you bring it to the SPCA, it's low cost. And a lot of people start out feeding their cats in their backyard, which is a nice thing to do, just like if you feed the birds or something. But really, if you think of a cat, when they're 6 months, they can reproduce. So then you have 6 kittens. In 6 months, those kittens will be reproducing. So that, instead of spending your money on a lot of feed, if you just trap that cat, it's initial one-time cost, but you will save many, many lives. So it is, the town does not give money to it. The town now is incorporating Save All Strays that will oversee, and you can have an application at the shelter where you go and fill out the application if you want to do it. So it's
All right.
basically on an individual, it's allowing you to do this.
Okay, I was actually going to do it, we have 8 of them in our back, but I didn't realize we were going to have to pay for that. We're still going to have to pay for the feed even after we neuter them,
Right, that's the, you try to slow down the...
But I understand, there's a place down in, I forget the name of it, Friends of Animals, that'll do it for $45, that's where I'm gonna end up going. But that's the best price I found, that's for a female cat, a stray. So if you wanna tell anybody that, it's Friends of Animals down south. Okay, Jersey,
Right.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I understand.
All right, anyone else have any questions on? Yes,
I
Mr.
have a
Merwin?
question, yeah. Anita, you said trap, neuter, vaccinate, and remove.
Release.
Release.
Release?
Release.
So we're not going to be removing it?
No.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so anyone else have a question on C3? Do I have a motion?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Pescitti, second by Mrs. Walker.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill? Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Murphy?
Yes, sorry, I couldn't
Mr.
hear.
Piscitty? Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay.
9 yes.
Thank you. C5, I separated that because it has to do with cost-sharing agreement for Route 9, Spring Valley Road, and Ulrich. And that's something, the signalization of that light has been something that people in that area have been waiting for a very long time, especially Plaza Grand. So I'm very glad to see that we are moving along with getting this done. So I'd like to make a motion.
Second.
Moved by myself, Mrs. Walker.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes,
Mr. Pescitty?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Next will be C6, Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Yes, this is just basically for clarification, this authorizing the mayor and township clerk to execute the shared service agreement with school security between the Township of Overage and the Overage Board of Education. So I just have a question, because there's a cost involved with this. Do you have an idea of the cost to the town and the cost to the Board of Ed?
Those numbers should be in the agreement, the percentages. Kenny, you worked on that. You would, believe the township does bear some of the expense, but the majority of it is being picked up by the Board of Education.
That's why I brought it up, because the Board of Ed increased their budget, obviously, for this, and obviously our taxes go up, so then they also, we're paying, so, we're absorbing the cost too. So they increased it a significant amount, and I thought it would cover the whole thing, but I guess it doesn't.
Just for clarification, the township is picking up 25% of the SROs, three of them, and 50% on the fourth one, which is a new. Next year, all of them will be 75% Board of Ed, 25% township. And the SLEOs, with the SLEO 3s, the Board of Ed is picking up 100% of the SLEO 3s, and they're picking up half of the training. The ammo and something else is a 50-50 split. And there was a new position for a sergeant to oversee, because now they're up to like 21 or 22 employees that'll be under that sergeant. So my recollection, I don't have it right in front of me, was that they're going to pay, I think, 50% of it, of the sergeant's position.
Yeah, I just didn't want to talk about the structure of it. I just want to know that they were covering it, because I know the Board of Ed tax went up significantly.
Yeah, I would say a majority of it is picked up by the
Okay.
Board of Ed.
All right. Anyone else have any questions on C6? Seeing no hands, do we have a motion?
Move it.
Second? Second. Moved by Mr. Rizzoli, second by Dr. Greenberg Belli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Kale?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pesky?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
C11, Mr. Merwin?
Yes, that is the other part of this.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't want to get into it, I just wanted to make sure that's what it was. Thank you. I don't need you to explain,
Okay.
we know it's 25%.
Yes. All right, so anyone else for question for C11?
I need a motion.
Motion?
I'll move it.
Okay.
Second.
Move, okay.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Kale?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pesky?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Next is C15, Mr. Pasquity.
Yes, I had a couple questions. One, it says awarding rebid. Can someone explain to me what rebid means?
Oh, it's going up to bid again.
We had originally put this out for bid 2 months ago, and nobody bid on the project, so that's why it's the rebid.
Okay, thank you. I didn't see in the backup there was the actual bid, so I couldn't read the bid. Is there a time element? Because these guys start playing hockey in September, right?
Yes, they start playing in September, so the drop dead needed to be August 31st. On the original bid that we bid a couple months ago was going to be August 1st, was going to buy us a little bit more time. Now our drop dead will be August 31st.
Okay. That was the only questions I had. Thank you.
Okay, I have a major concern with the prices. One was over 100% higher. Oh, 100% higher, right? It was double.
We had one at 269, one at 484.
Yeah, well, why? I mean, that's very, very unusual when engineers or anybody's architects are bidding.
My opinion is obviously, somebody wants the job, somebody might not, but you're also dealing with other elements in there that maybe one contractor already has those people on payroll and one might have to go out and piecemeal his operation altogether. That could be why there's an inflated cost.
And have you ever heard of this company? It's nothing, I mean, have you found any information out about this company? I like the lower bid, but have they been on any of the jobs? You spoke to anybody, if they've been reliable or anything, and what they've done?
They gave us a list in their bid package that shows who they've worked with in the past. They do a lot of bridges and tunnels and water towers. That's really the paint that they're looking for in that area.
Did you call any of them?
we called people who they've done work with, other townships in New
And
Jersey.
they had no problem with that?
Correct.
Okay. And when would this be done by, if they started?
Needs to be done by August the 31st.
They can complete it in that time?
That's what they told us.
Okay. That's all I have.
Madam Chairperson.
Yes, Mr. Merwin?
Usually you have an idea of what the jobs are going to cost beforehand. Is this within that cost, or?
This is definitely within that cost.
All right, anyone else? Seeing no hands, do I have a motion?
Second.
By Mr. Pescitti, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Next is ordinances for first reading, FR1, amending ordinance, Chapter 10, Traffic, Section 10-19B, 7B, of the Code of the Township of Ulrich, location 1 Middlesex Boulevard, Cliffwood Beach, New Jersey, 07735.
I'll move it.
That's handicap parking.
That's handicap parking. Moved by Mr. Merwin,
Second?
second by Mr.
Rizzoli? Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Next is discussion ordinances. DO1, ordinance accepting a drainage easement on Block 3236.11, Lot 22, to be granted to the Township of Ulrich to maintain the drain system between 66 and 70 Balmoral Avenue.
Councilwoman Sohar,
Yes.
over here.
Mrs. Shapiro. I'm looking this way.
This is actually an easement for an existing drainage system that was damaged because of Hurricane Irene and then later on by Superstorm Sandy. It has since been reconstructed, but based on the reconstructed, we had to go 5 feet into one of the properties. So we're expanding basically the easement area. The applicant, the property owner has granted us that additional easement. The paperwork is in Novus as backup to show that they have signed the documents as a way just to record it and find it. In the future, our township attorney likes us to come to council to have you approve it prior to us recording it.
Right, agreed. That's a very good thought. Does anyone from the council have any questions for Mrs. Shapiro on this? Can we move it up to first reading? Okay.
Second.
Okay, moved by Dr. Greenberg Belli, second by Mr. Merwin.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg? Yes. Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes for first reading.
Next is discussion number 2, bond ordinance providing for energy-saving improvements for the Township of Ulrich, New Jersey, appropriating $175,000, therefore, and authorizing issuance of $166,250 bonds or notes of the township for the financing the cost thereof. Good evening, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? I just wanted to start by giving a brief overview of ESIP, and then at the end, I'm going to call up, we have our professionals here from Tozier. Back in 2009, the laws of 2009, Chapter 4, allowed government agencies to make energy-related improvements to their facilities and pay for the costs using the value of energy savings that resulted from the improvements. In fall 2012, an energy audit was performed by Concord Engineering to identify the current energy use at the township facilities and what energy conservation measures could be implemented to realize and maximize energy savings and energy efficiency. On May 20th, 2013, the Township Council authorized the use of competitive contracting for the purpose of selecting an energy savings company, also known as an ESCO, to implement the township's Energy Savings Improvement Plan, or ESIP. Competitive contracting, it's very similar to bidding, except instead of going solely off a price, it goes, within the proposal, you use a weighted criteria to pick. On July 22nd, 2013, the Township Council appointed Tozier Energy Systems as the ESCO. In July 2014, a third-party review of the ESIP plan was performed by DLB Associates to ensure that the calculations were made in accordance with the BPU standards and that all required elements of the ESIP were covered. On December 8th, 2014, the Township Council authorized an energy savings implementation agreement with Tozier Energy Systems in the amount of $3,647,629. The original projects that were included in the ESIP plan included lighting and lighting controls in the municipal complex, library, ice arena, as well as external areas. A mechanical contract, which included boiler installation, piping, air handler units, CHP, and air conditioning work at the George Bush Center, Civic Center, and DPW building. Library roof replacement, Civic Center, domestic hot water heater replacement, library boiler replacements, library rooftop unit replacements, ice rink compressor motors, ice rink condensation fix, administration building ceiling replacement, VAV box and controls for the police range. And we also ended up including, at the arena, the hot water heater had gone suddenly, and we ended up including that in our ESIP, which was not part of the original plan. As far as financing, on October 20th, 2014, the Township Council adopted a bond ordinance in the amount of $4 million for these projects. On October 15th, 2015, the Township issued $3.7 million in ESIP bonds. On November 9th, 2017, the Township issued bond anticipation notes for the remaining $300,000 balance of the bond ordinance. Tonight, there's an additional bond ordinance. Some of the projects were over budget, so this would be to close out the project. And if everybody's in agreement, we would like to move it up for first reading tonight. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Josh Costello, Kevin Keenan, and Randy Kravanek from Tozier Energy Systems.
Good evening.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you.
We are here to answer any questions you may have about the project or the additional $175,000 for the ESIP. As Dawn mentioned, the Energy Savings Improvement Plan. It's important to note that it is the way the statutory requirements around this program works is that we have to publicly bid all the energy conservation measures. So we aren't aware of who will, quote, be on our team until we publicly bid it. And because we publicly bid it, all we can do is give good faith estimates when we're working up the investment grade audit that tells us, looks at, what opportunities to exist. It then goes to 2 reviews on top of that, one with the BPU and one with, as was pointed out, with your engineering firm. The project is on. We're excited in the fact that working with the mayor and the staff, we're right on track right now with the savings that we've seen already from the project, working with the facilities, Casey and Kyle. I think everybody will attest to the comfort level now that you have in the reliability of the equipment that was replaced. And then finally, There's no leaks in the library. It was challenging, so.
So when you have energy savings, when this came up, this was a project that you evaluated the whole complex, what needed to be upgraded. Thank you, I thought I hit it, okay. So when this project came about, the idea was to evaluate the whole municipal complex and see what needed to be upgraded that was actually inefficient, not working properly, not stable, but cost us money every time that we were basically putting a Band-Aid on it. So now you did this evaluation, and we did upgrades through that, and then it's energy, the concept was there energy savings, although it was bonded for, that energy savings in the long run was going to pay for these improvements.
Yes.
And so we're on target with that. Okay, so then this is some other, this is another element of the project that needs to, that has been identified that needs to be done. This wasn't in the original that you, when you saw the project in the
No,
town?
there was change orders and additional costs that were not anticipated for a variety of reasons. The change orders were $119,000 on $3.7 million. So, and additionally, there were another $84,000 worth of change orders that we picked up as what we felt were not the responsibility
So
of
these
the.
change orders add to the whole system being more efficient?
Yes.
And then, so that will just, even out with the, the savings. That's what's.
Everything went into new facility upgrades. As a matter of fact, I think you were mentioning the lighting rink. You have new lighting in there that I think will be prove to make it more enjoyable during the upcoming season, as long as you get the other thing done by August 31st.
Right.
Okay.
Not only that, as far as the timing, this has been going on for X amount of years, and when do you think it will be?
We're closed out.
Okay, so you're on target then. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Pescitti.
So, if I understand Dawn correctly, your contract was implemented in 2014 for $3.6 million approximately, is that correct? And then we bonded in 2014 for $4 million, is that right, Dawn? 2014, we bonded for $4 million?
The bond ordinance was for $4 million.
In 15.
Okay, so, okay, which we used 3.7 million out of that, right?
It should be, yeah. The bond ordinance in 2014 was for $4 million of total improvements. We had issued ESIP bonds in October of 2015 for $3.7 million. And then last November, we issued $300,000 of bond anticipation notes to finance the remaining part of the $4 million ordinance.
Okay, thank you. So, looking at this whole plan, it started back in 2012. Do you have a number that we saved over this project?
So, year over year, you were at, we went over it this evening, it's at 159,000.
That's per year?
Just, from what we have started looking for from this year, it was 159,000 year-to-date. It goes against a base year. So you use a reference year, and then everything gets compared to that reference year and then weather normalized. So you're, for lack of a better word, comparing apples to apples. So, and the cost savings have 30. Yeah, they're at 32% right now off of the base year.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah.
Madam Chairperson?
Yes, Mr. Berwin?
Yes. I've been asking for a report on this ESIP program for 6 months now. I'm still waiting for the report on this ESIP program, and we're in the 7th month. You know, the proof is in the pudding, whether this was just another bond gimmick or whether we're really going to save this money. We were promised money from the state, you know, like Ritz, you know, but they've dried up, haven't they? We're not getting those, right?
That's the paper performance incentive you're speaking of. They have all been submitted and approved, and now that the contract is being closed out, the state comes out for one final inspection, and the checks will be cut then. There was one challenge with a meter. We had to go through the state appeal process, which was successful. The state granted appeal. We hope to schedule the final closeout inspection for the paper performance incentives, but the program is still fully funded. The applications are in and approved.
Well, we'll see that when we get the money, right? But, you know, I don't know why it's taken 7 months for a report to be given to us to bring us up to date. And that's not you guys. I'm not, that's the administration. I've asked for 7 months now. All right? Where's the numbers? All right, and now you're going to want to ask us to approve another $166,000, and we still haven't had the report. So, you know, I'm going to have a hard time saying yes until I get the report. Thank you.
Anyone else for comments? Mr. Cahill?
Yeah, so, you know, I was on the council when we approved this, and there's nothing bad about this. This pays for itself. We have, and Dawn rattled off all the improvements we've gotten through the program that we wouldn't have gotten, quite frankly, if we didn't go this way, because we would have had to bond and we wouldn't have gotten the payback. So, you know, we have new infrastructure throughout the complex, throughout the township. We will get the savings. It's all approved by the BPU, so it's, you know, it's not like something's going on that, you know, everything gets looked at by at least 2 sets of eyes, the way I understand it, correct? So, but you have to spend the money and implement the infrastructure to start to reap the savings, and we're starting to see that right now. So I think it's a good program. I voted for it originally. I'm going to support this as well, but, you know, there's nothing bad about this. And I know the Board of Ed is actually doing the same thing, aren't they, the Overage Board of Ed? And other municipalities and other Board of Eds, because it's a good program. It's approved by the BPU. Again, tons and tons of eyes look at this thing, so everything's up, and I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Walker?
Yes, in addition to the savings, we also have improved a lot of our equipment that was in really very, very poor shape. It wasn't functioning well. So in addition to, we would have had to replace the equipment anyway, so we have now updated equipment plus savings. And I hate when people have to make things political all the time. It's disgusting.
Anyone else for comments? Mr. Murphy?
Yes, I understand what he was saying. The concept sounds good, but were we promised a report or something? And why haven't we gotten it? I understand what Mr. Cahill said is right. I think it's a great thing, but is it going to be one of those things that becomes a political football? That's all I want to know.
Yeah. Councilman Murphy, yes, as part of our scope, we are,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry?
Yeah, thank you.
As part of our scope, we are responsible for 1 year of what's called measurement and verification. The measurement and verification, much like the incentives, begins when the contract is closed out, and we are beginning contract closeout right now. And this is one of the final steps of the contract closeout.
And because of that, you can't do a report?
We can provide a report. I can talk with Nicole and provide something.
Okay, thank you.
We track all of the savings right now on a real-time basis. Year to date, it's been 32%, 34%. We track them on a real-time basis, so we saw.
We're being recorded, it's 32.
32, my apologies. Well, we track the savings on a real-time basis, so we can make adjustments, and we can tweak, and we can commission, and we can squeeze out a couple more percentage points of savings.
Okay,
We can
thank you.
provide a report.
Thank you.
I'd like to suggest if a report hasn't been done, it's on us. And maybe you need to just, if you can communicate what you would like to look, or we can show you samples and we'll work with administration. But there's very detailed reports, especially on the cost accounting that has been done by Hamash, by the business administrator and their staff. It meets all the AIA schedule of values protocols and the checks and double checks on invoices having to be submitted. And also, even better than a report, maybe to just walk around and we could probably arrange and show you all the work that has been done with the staff. That's maybe something that would be worthwhile as a suggestion for your consideration.
All right, we good? Okay. I'll just close it by saying that I also was on the council that approved this, and I think it's a very worthy project. I think it's been well vetted out, and I think that everything has been done with the thought for the future. And we've invested in the town, and we'll reap the rewards down the line, and we're not leaving anything behind that's not completed. That's something too. If you're going to do this, then you have to see it to fruition. So thank you for coming and making your presentation. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Council
I
President,
have-
Make a motion?
can we make a motion to move it to first?
Okay, Dr. Greenberg made a motion to move this up to first reading.
Second?
Second by Mr. Pescetti.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg? Yes. Mr. Merwin?
No.
Mr. Murphy?
Abstain.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. President Soha?
Yes.
7 yes, 1 no, 1 abstention.
Next is,
Madam President, just a procedural thing. We've moved things from discussion to first reading by motion. Now you have to have a motion approving first reading. In other words, we were at a discussion
Okay,
point.
so we
It's
move
been
it up.
moved to first by motion. Now you have to approve it first
Okay.
reading, and we have to do the same for
For the first
the
one.
drainage
now
easement,
we
just a
understand.
procedural.
Okay,
Move it.
okay.
You're going to move it?
Move it.
Mr. Rizzoli moved it.
I make the motion to approve it for first reading.
Second.
Wait, okay,
Which one?
We already gave the
Yep.
motion.
all right.
Who seconded it?
Dr. Greenberg.
Greenberg.
Yeah.
Okay. First reading, DO2. Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
No.
Mr. Murphy?
No.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
Council President,
Seven
then don't we have to do DO1
Yeah,
as well?
that's what I was, exactly.
7 yes, 2 no.
Now we have to do the one for DO1,
Move it?
Second?
moved by Mr. Pescetti, second by Dr. Greenberg. Thank you.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescetti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker? President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay. Next is discussion ordinance number 3, amending an ordinance of the Township of Ulrich, Chapter 160 fees, Article 2, tax collector fees for the Code of the Township of Ulrich, under Section 160-8, fees collected by the tax collector. Good evening again, Mrs. Swoboda.
Actually, this discussion, it's for DO3 and DO4.
Okay.
In doing some research, it looks like we had these fees in 2 parts of the Township Code. So that's why it's 2 separate ordinances. But pretty much I was notified on June 22nd by Middlesex County Clerk's Office that as of June 14th, they had changed their fees regarding cancellation of tax sale certificates. They charged the municipality $11, but now to cancel a third-party tax sale certificate, they've increased the fee to $23. These fees we do collect from the redeeming party when the lien is redeemed, usually a title company or mortgage company. Sometimes the taxpayer themselves redeem it. We collect a fee which we're asking to change the ordinance to $30. And then therefore, when we get the certificate back from the lien holder, we send it to the county for cancellation.
Okay, so the county increased their,
Yeah,
by
yes.
50%, or how much?
Pretty much. It was, well, they charge, and they're still gonna charge the municipality $11, but in order, if it's sold to a private entity or individual, so when we have third-party lien holders
Right.
come and purchase our tax sale certificates, it's now gonna be $23 even if the municipality, and in fact, I got the bill today and they've already started enforcing it.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Like to move this up for first reading too, because we have our tax sale coming up the end of September, so.
Okay, but we would have to do them separately. Okay, so is there anyone who has any questions on this discussion item? Mr. Pescitti?
Did they charge $11, and then when some other transaction comes, they charge another $23 in addition? Or is it just, it was just changed from 11 to 23? I just didn't get
It
that.
was just, previously, any certificates that we sent, whether they were municipally owned certificates or third-party, they would charge the municipality $11. But normally, I think their practice is to charge outside companies the higher amount. So now they want to, you know,
Right, okay, thank you.
they're losing money by us sending it, but.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions? Now, do we have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Pescitti, second by Mr. Rizzoli. No.
Mrs. Brown?
She's off days, right?
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg? Yes. Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
8 yes.
I'd like to move DO4.
We're going to take this for first reading.
Now we're going to move it for first reading.
Make a motion?
Mr. Pescitti made a motion, second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Rizzoli.
Question on.
Yes.
To Dawn. That the letter from the clerk's office lists all kinds of dollar amounts, and it appears that their dollar amounts may be more than we're raising this?
I spoke to someone at the county clerk's office for clarification. $23 would be to cancel a tax sale certificate, which is normally what we send there. The second paragraph is regarding a redemption, either if a lien holder loses a tax sale certificate and we recreate one for them, which I've never had to do, or many times, and one of the reasons that we send certificates to be canceled when they're redeemed is mortgage companies, attorneys, they tend not to cancel them right away. And then I get requests, you know, for liens from the 70s, from the 50s to cancel them.
I just wanted to make sure that the
Right.
30s are not.
Yeah, that's why I didn't do anything about the second part, because if we do one of those, we do charge $15 or $20 based on our ordinance, but then it's their responsibility to cancel it at the county.
I just wanted to make sure we were doing the right amount, that's all.
Okay, and next will be that discussion number 4, amending.
No, we gotta do
Right. So just want to make sure everybody knows we did put those together, okay? So next is discussion number 5, amending ordinance.
We gotta vote.
Wait, I'm sorry. Oh, my goodness, I think I need coffee. Okay,
have
so
to
let's
vote.
vote on,
All right.
yeah,
Make a motion?
We're voting on DO3
well,
for first reading.
right,
Okay.
okay. Oh, this is. this is
Mrs. Brown?
long. Okay.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg? Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes,
9 yes.
I'll get the hang of it.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, DO4.
now we have DO4,
Move up.
and we're going to move this up for first reading as well. amending an ordinance of the Township of Overage, Chapter 160, fees, Article 3, various goods and services of the Code of the Township of Overage, under Section 160-17, Tax Office. No further discussion? We're moving it up.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pescitti, second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg? Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Next is to move it.
Now
wait,
we're gonna
yeah,
do
that's
a
what I said.
first
Next
reading.
is to move it up and vote for first reading. Yeah, I'm not back.
Make a motion for
So
first
now we
reading.
got to go to first reading. Okay, so Mr. Pescitti made the, oh my God, Stella, you put, all right, he made the motion. Who's going to do the second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rizzoli.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay.
First reading.
Yep. Next is discussion ordinance number 5, amending ordinance under Chapter 39 for the Township of Oldbridge, specifically Chapter 39 Animals, Article 2, licensing and regulation for dogs and cats, 39-25.1. Is it legal? So, discussion, anyone have any questions on this?
Yeah, what is it?
Okay, you're going to roll it out for us?
This was the amendment to the ordinance so that the previous resolution we had naming Save All Cats, I had to amend the ordinance so that that could occur. The ordinance originally read, as you can see in the proposed ordinance, any agency contracted or hired by the township to coordinate and monitor the TNR program. So because there was a committee that was created to handle this, and they went out and did their due diligence and found this organization, in order for, it was suggested by the committee and to make it so that, since the committee did the due diligence, not the administration, that they would come back to the administration and say, this is who we recommend. The way the ordinance was originally written, that could not occur. So in order to keep this moving forward, what I did was amended the ordinance to read, any agency contracted or selected by the township and/or the TNR committee to coordinate and monitor the TNR program. By doing that, it enabled us to move forward, or not us, but the committee to move forward and to move forward with the program that was basically, took a while to get done to begin with. So this just moves it expeditiously.
Thank you very much. One questions?
I'll
Move it.
Okay, so
Second.
moved by Dr. Greenberg, second,
Moved by Mr. Merwin.
Mr. Merwin, sorry.
Who seconded?
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Pete and Mrs. Greenberg. Yep, Dr. Greenberg.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
And Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Now we'll move it up for,
Move it again.
okay, Dr. Greenberg moved it again.
Oh, sorry.
Second again by Mr. Merwin. And now we're going to go for roll call again.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Pescitti?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
President Soha?
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay. Now we'll go to public comments. Anyone in the public wish to be heard on any subject matter? Come forward, please. I got it now.
Good
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, councilmen, and women. My
Sir,
name-
just for the record,
Name?
please state
Can
your
we
name.
have your name, please, for the record?
Brendan Lee, 1 Clearbrook Court.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Henry, councilmen, and women. My name is Brendan Lee, and I am the Assistant Captain of Cheesequake First Aid, Volunteer First Aid Squad. I'm here tonight to bring an important matter to your attention. Cheesequake Volunteer First Aid Squad is on the brink of shutting its doors. And the reason why is because Overage Township has refused to give us the money that has always been promised to us in the budget, which is $45,000 per year, as stated in NJ State Statute 40:5-2, contributions to first aid, ambulance, and rescue squads. As read by, any county or municipality may make a voluntary contribution of not more than $70,000 annually to any duly incorporated first aid and emergency or volunteer ambulance or rescue squad association of the county or of any municipality therein, rendering services generally throughout the county or any of the municipalities thereof. We are 1/5 owners of OB Thames, but we are separate corporations and operate independently of each other. Although we both share one common goal, helping the residents and visitors of this great town and providing them the best and utmost professional care possible. We are here to save the lives and provide a service, and Cheesequake Volunteer First Aid Squad cannot provide that service if we do not receive the $45,000 as promised by the town. We are a volunteer first aid squad, and we do not bill any residents or non-resident for any care rendered or transports to the hospital. We rely solely on donations and the agreement with the town giving us $45,000 per year. Volunteer squads do have operating costs like any business, which include bills to pay, equipment to be purchased, and maintenance of ambulances. Councilmen and women, you approved the budget on April 18th, sheet 15-3, last line, that include giving each of the first aid squads $45,000 yearly. The money is being withheld from us, and there's not a clear reason why, and it is costing the taxpayers money. If we are not being given this money, I am sure the taxpayers of Ulrich are wondering where that money is going to. We're only asking for half of the agreed amount, $22,000 and $500 for now to continue to operate and provide a service to the town. If we do not receive this money, we'll be forced to be bankrupt and shut our doors for good. Closing our doors does not have a positive impact on anyone. Closing down means other squads will have to cover our area, requiring them to be in service more. It also means that OB Thames will have to be in service more. And once again, bill the town for compensation for the increased hours of operation, to which the town is already being sued for not providing the proper compensation as previously agreed upon with OB Thames. We are not here asking for millions of dollars that was not promised to us. We are here asking for $22,500 of the $45,000 that was approved in the budget on April 18th, so that we can keep paying our bills and continue to provide the best and utmost professional care to Overage and its residents. We have been providing emergency medical services for almost 50 years, and we would greatly appreciate the opportunity to continuing to provide these services. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public that would like to be heard this evening? Seeing no hands, I will close the public portion, and we will now go to council comments. Mr. Murphy.
Okay, well, first of all, as you're here, I was supposed to bring this up last week. A good friend of mine, my next-door neighbor, had passed away on Mother's Day. She was 52 years old and had a massive heart attack. The husband couldn't make it here tonight. He was going to speak, so he asked me to thank, I'm not sure who it was. It was one of the EMSs from Overage, and I just want to say thank you for that. I appreciate it. Her name was Paige. A lot of people here knew her, and she was a long-time worker at the Raritan Bay in Ulrich. That's it for that. I have one more thing. Mr. Peschitti, when you spoke before about the two meetings a month, I kind of agree with you, because we only have one meeting a month in the summer. And between the next two, there's 6 weeks between the meetings, and the next two after that, it's almost 2 months. So if we can go almost 2 months, why don't we, just like you said, have a meeting in the first week, and then a third week we'll have a regular meeting? There's no reason to do that. And like we had spoken before, we're working for the people. At least 6 members of the council, at least 5, possibly 6 members are for the people. And there's a lot more to come, and we're going to make a lot of changes. Just because you say that's the way it wasn't always that way. And it's going to be changed. A lot of things will be changed. And I don't know if you understood my discussion thing, but you didn't have to bring everything up for first reading. It says you may, but by doing this, it doesn't only slow down government, it speeds it up. This stuff's all done now, and you're going to see the meetings get shorter and shorter, because we're going to try to do the right thing, and we're going to do what we can for the public. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else on this side? Yeah. Mr. Rizzoli.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate Diana Mobile on her retirement. Have a long and healthy retirement. Enjoy yourself. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else on this side? How about on my right? Mr. Pischetti?
Yeah, on the going back to the direct pay, I know we tabled it, but I wanted to, can I talk to Dawn about it? I want to ask a question.
You can't talk about it, it's tabled.
Oh, just can't talk about it. Can't talk about it. Okay.
Okay, anything else from Mr. Pischetti? Okay, anyone down here? Mrs. Walker?
Talk keeps coming up about having an agenda meeting and a business meeting. That was tried years ago, but there were 4 meetings a month, 2 agenda and 2 business, because we have to pay our bills. If we do 1 agenda and 1 business, the township bills will not get paid in timely fashion. So we'd have to consider 4 meetings a month. And I am here for the people, and I'm getting pretty tired of being attacked by Mr. Murphy.
Anyone else? You already spoke. Anyone else over here? You guys already spoke. Is there anybody who has not spoken? No, John, I'm trying to be polite. I wanted to allow, there are other members who haven't spoken yet, and then we'll go, and then we'll do 1 more round, and that's it, okay? All right. Mr. Pischetti.
Okay, yeah, on the agenda and business meeting, I didn't want to go back to 4 meetings a month. What I was saying that is we used to have an agenda meeting and then a business meeting. And by streamlining it, it seemed like a good idea, but what was happening is we weren't able to discuss a lot of this stuff, and we're getting the agenda on Fridays, and sometimes it's changed, and we're not getting the agenda until Monday of the council meeting. And it doesn't give enough time to research all these items. There's a lot of items, there's a lot of business in Old Bridge, there's a lot of things that need to be researched. I mean, the vote is more important, I think, and to know what I'm voting on. I don't want to just vote for the sake of voting. So I just would ask that we would consider, since in the summer, we're only doing 1 meeting a month. So if we can do it in the summer, why can't we do it year-round and add 1 meeting for an agenda to discuss items? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Cahill.
Sorry, is Mr. Pischetti done?
Yeah, you're done, right, Mr.? Yeah, yes, he is.
Around the meetings, I've been an advocate since I've been on the council that we have 2 meetings a month, period. And it's fallen on deaf ears a lot. There's no reason why in the summer months we still can't have 2 meetings. You know, there's 9 people on the council, we need 5 for a quorum. So I understand people take vacations and things like that, but, you know, the fact that 4 people might not, or 5 people might not show up for a meeting is pretty slim. So I've always been an advocate for 2 meetings a month. This way we have all the discussion, we can pay the bills, but for whatever reason during the summer months, we go back to 1, and then we have these huge gaps. So, I mean, maybe something the council to consider coming up in January when we put the calendar together is that we say we're going to have 2 meetings a month, and we just do it. So that's my suggestion.
But you mean business meetings, correct?
Yes, business meetings,
All
thank you.
right, thank you. Yes, Mr. Murphy?
Okay, I agree with Tony. Like I said, there's going to be almost 2 months in this summer where we don't have a meeting. I figure every single month we should have 1 agenda and 1 regular, 2 weeks apart. If Mr. Amachu can't get the bills paid in a month, then obviously he isn't doing his job.
Mr. Murphy,
So, no, I'm
please.
just saying, I
No,
can
but-
speak about that. He's not here, I'll talk to him about that on the phone. But listen, there should be no reason that we can't have 2 meetings every single month right through the summer. And that will be brought up next week, thank you. Or next 2 weeks or a year or something.
What, in a year? No, okay. Anyone else have any comments from the council? All right, we're good? Okay. All right. All right. Next is a motion to adjourn. It's not a first reading, second reading, it's a motion to adjourn.
I'll move it. Everyone be safe, enjoy your summer, and let's pray for the boys
Roll
in
call,
Thailand.
please.
Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Cahill?
Yes.
Dr. Greenberg? Mr. Merwin?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Fischetti?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker? President Soham? Mr. Rizzoli?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think I finished.